OPEC 26 meeting of the Joint Ministerial Monitoring Committee underway in Vienna, Austria. It projects oil outlook to be brighter with demand estimated to rise by 3.3 million barrels per day. Nigerian Economic Summit Group projects Nigeria's early exit from recession and 2.9% economic growth in 2021 as global shares rise midweek. This is Business Express reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. My name is Musa Abubakar. Thank you for joining us. Non-performing loans in the banking sector rose by 333 billion naira at the end of the third quarter of 2020 to 1.5 trillion naira at the end of 2020. Figures from the Central Bank of Nigeria and the National Bureau of Statistics show that despite the increased lending and rise in non-performing loans during the coronavirus pandemic, the banking system has remained stable. Figures obtained from the CBN showed that the non-performing loans rose to 6.01% of the total loans to the economy, which stood at 25.02 trillion naira at the end of 2020. The Apex Bank noted that the development was not unexpected under the prevailing circumstances and emphasized the need to strengthen macro-prudential framework. The CBN stated that the banking sector's credit has, at the end of December, stood at 25.02 trillion naira, compared with 24.25 trillion naira at the end of November 2020, representing an increase of 774.28 billion naira. As OPEC 26th meeting of the Joint Ministerial Monitoring Committee gets underway in Vienna, Austria, the outlook for oil remains brighter in the known Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development region, with demand estimated to rise by 3.3 million barrels per day to around 51.2 million barrels per day. The Secretary General of OPEC, Sanusi Barkindo, made the revelation at the 48th meeting of the Joint Technical Committee meeting of OPEC in Vienna, Austria, citing the global economy growth focus of 4.4% in 2021, which is a substantial shift from minus 4.1% last year. The OPEC boss said despite the demand uncertainty caused by risk of more contagious variants of the coronavirus forcing extension of lockdowns, there is hope that 2021 will be a good year for overall demand.
Hopeful that 2021 will be a much better year for overall demand. The paper market is off to a very good start with Brent and West Texas Intermediate benchmarks both up by nearly 8%, and the OPEC basket as well, also by 8% since the beginning of January. The physical market is a little bit sluggish, but also catching up.
He noted that the declaration of cooperation is restoring confidence and balance in the global oil market for both producing and consuming countries. Now, the Nigerian Economic Summit Group has projected that the Nigerian economy will grow by 2.9% in this year and achieve a sustained high growth rate up to 2025 in line with the expected global recovery. The NESG in its 2021 macro outlook says the country will achieve a more robust and resilient economy exemplified by improved external reserves and fiscal position, as well as moderate inflation rate of 14.5%. It projected government revenue to increase by 23.3% further till 2025, while the exchange rate will become stable as unemployment and poverty ease over time. Chief Executive Officer of the Summit Group, Laoye Jayola, observed that like 2020, 2021 will be characterized by uncertainties. To talk more about the Nigeria Summit Group's economic expectations from this year is Sadiq Olofin from Nigerian Economic Summit Group, who joins us via Zoom from Lagos. Glad to have you on the program.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me, Musa. It's a pleasure being here.
Okay, the Nigerian Economic Summit Group has predicted a growth rate of 2.9% for the Nigerian economy in 2021, higher than the 1.5% growth rate suggested by the International Monetary Fund. What factors does the group expect to drive growth?
Well, 2020 is no longer in news that 2020 is a year of recession, and 2021 is to come with a lot of expectation. So consequently, we did some kind of projection based on different kind of scenarios. Particularly, we have three different scenarios, which are based on the worst case scenario where we expect the government to behave recklessly towards the economic situation that we have now, and which we are projecting that the economy is going to contract by 2.5% in 2021, given that the government display recklessness towards the current economic situation. COVID-19 cases escalated, in the probably we have a third wave, fourth wave, or fifth wave, and some other parameters that we use to look at what the potential outcome of a worst case scenario. So consequently, we have a minus 2.5% growth projection if we turn out to experience the worst case scenario. So in our business as usual scenario, where we expect a 0.9% growth in 2021. So we expect the system to play out the way it did in 2020 and expect a slight recovery in the economy in 2020. With this, we expect a lethargic response from the government, increased usage of vaccine among developed countries with less usage in Nigeria, and we expect the oil price to average around $44 per barrel in 2021. Oil production too should be revolving around 1.7 million barrels, while we expect capital expenditure to be around 1.7. So with that, we expect a marginal growth of 0.9% in 2021. But with our best case scenario, we were expecting the government to respond rapidly to the situation on ground. We expect very radical reforms. We expect the government to respond to implement reform across sectors of the economy, and we expect availability of vaccines all over the world. And in Nigeria, we expect massive vaccination of Nigerian citizens. We expect oil price to increase, to revolve around $51 per barrel in 2021. We expect the oil production too to increase to be at 1.8 million barrels per day, and we expect the capital expenditure of 2.3 trillion. So with that, we are anticipating a 2.9% growth. So you would see that we have, beyond just talking about the economy is going to expand, there are some conditions that are to be put in place for the economy to expand. So without those conditions in place, the
What are these conditions?
definitely will not be feasible.
Mr. Sadiq, what are these conditions?
Well, the condition we have here is a rapid response from the government to the situation on ground with implementing reform across sectors of the economy. And we expect we expect mass vaccination for Nigerian citizens. We expect oil price to increase. We expect oil production to increase as well. And we expect the capital expenditure projection of 2.3 trillion in 2021. So the inability of government to achieve all of these conditions, definitely we'll be expecting something shortfall of 2.9%.
Okay, your group's 2021 macro outlook says unemployment and poverty must be tackled as a foundation for economic recovery. What can be done to achieve that?
Yes, based on the report, the outcome of our report, like we said, the report is targeted towards driving high-end investment. So the driving high-end investment into many major sectors of the economy. particularly sectors that have high absorbability of labors. So in order to now attract investment, as the case may be, so we highlighted 4 different priorities in which the government should focus on. The first of which is the government should ensure economic stability. By so doing, we are talking about stability in exchange rate, stability in inflation, interest rate environment should be stable. We expect external balance to be stable, and so many other macroeconomic variables that the government needs to work on. The second priority is for the government to ensure policy and regulatory consistency. That is, what we are trying to say here is we want every aspect of government policy actions to follow a process that ensures that the policies are well thought of, and some of the policy programs are well designed such that it tackles the actual problem, and we don't have a situation where one policy from the government today is leading to another, to a counter policy that has been done previously. So
Okay.
that is the second ground. The third is the sectoral reform. Here we highlighted about a number of sectors that the government needs to focus on, among which is the manufacturing sector, among which manufacturing sector, construction, the trade sector, health and education, as well as professional service, alongside with increased investment in ICT and renewable energy. Okay. So these are sectors that we think they have high employment absorbability. They employ high number of people. They accommodate high number of laborers. As such, growth in those sectors will growth in those sectors will lead to increase in employment. As such, will lead to increase the reduction in poverty.
Okay. Okay, the group also projects that Nigeria will exit recession very soon. How soon is very soon?
Well, like I said earlier, depending on some of the eventualities that play out in 2021, based on some of the macroeconomic parameters that we have. So expect, in anticipation of massive vaccination, in anticipation of increase in the price of oil, in anticipation of increase in crude oil production, and so many other positivity around the macro environment. With that, we expect the economy to recover from recession in 2021. But in the absence of this, then we don't know. The other way might play out.
Okay, give us a quarter that we should expect the growth.
I didn't get that.
Give us a quarter that we should expect the growth. Or timeline, right?
Like we have said in the report, we have 3 different scenarios that we want to play out. The first, in the worst case scenario, where we have the parameters not playing out well, we're expecting a minus 2.5% growth. In the business as usual case, where everything just goes as usual, we're expecting 0.9% growth. And in the best case scenario, where we expect the parameters to perform well in 2021, we expect 2.9% growth in 2021.
Okay. The report says Nigeria needs more than a simple GDP rebound. What does that mean?
Yes, over the years, we discovered that the growth that we have experienced over the past couple of years, even before the 2016 recession, we discovered that the growth we experienced in Nigeria has been marshaled by very few sectors. So in order for growth to actually tackle the poverty situation in the country, tackle the unemployment situation in the country, we are expecting growth to be across the sectors of the economy, beyond just some major sectors that are being favored by the current situation of the country. We expect that for growth to be inclusive and for growth to come with the needed employment, we are expecting that growth should cut across the sectors of the economy.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Sadiq Olofin, with the Nigerian Economic Summit Group.
Thank you for having me.
Well, moving on. As against the hike in a bag of rice as at festive period of December last year, dealers of the commodity say the price has relatively reduced. Wisdom Jacob, who was at the Uyo major markets on this development, now reports.
And for rice, as a staple food, the price of this commodity has been on the high side, making it difficult for many people to afford it. In August 2019, Nigeria closed its land border. In the wake of declining oil prices, the federal government through Central Bank of Nigeria placed a ban on importation of 41 items, including rice, from accessing forex in the official foreign exchange market, a measure to help conserve the nation's foreign reserves and encourage local production. The federal government, at a cabinet meeting in the last quarter of 2020, approved the reopening of 4 land borders but kept restriction on rice importation and some other products. With all these policies put in place, the price of rice became unbearable for the common man, especially during the Christmas and New Year celebrations. But presently, the price of this commodity has reduced drastically from 35,000 to 23,000 naira, depending on the brand.
Price of rice now, we are selling 28,000. While before we are selling 34,000, 32,000. But rice have dropped now.
Like tomato, which is stone-free, at the rate of 23,000 presently. Rice master, which at the rate of 23,000 as well. African nutritious, that one is at the rate of 23,000 naira as well.
The one that dropped price is foreign rice. The one they smuggle from Cameroon, they smuggle from Oron to sell for us. That is the one that dropped, really. But Nigerian rice, as I see it, did not drop. The suppliers just reduced like 500 or 1,000 from Nigerian on.
What could be the reasons for the reduction?
Because of the sales, there's no money. People have no money to buy goods. There's no money for people to buy food, for people to buy goods. That is why the price drop.
People that came from Oron to sell the rice to us, to supply us the rice, say that there are some group of whether custom, navy, those joint task force, that they enter their warehouse at Oron to pack their rice. Each time they broke into their warehouse, they will pack all their rice and they will lose completely. So because of that incident, they have to reduce the price of the rice in order to sell it out.
Rice dealers are, however, appealing to the federal government to lift ban on rice importation, as the ones produced locally is not enough to feed the masses. In Uyo, Wisdom Jacob.
Following the successful completion of listing of establishments, a component of National Business Sample Census, the National Bureau of Statistics has commenced National Business Sample Survey, otherwise known as the Survey of Establishments. A statement by Ichedi Sunday Joel, Head Public Affairs International Relations of the National Bureau of Statistics, says the objectives of the National Business Sample Survey include to rebase the gross domestic product GDP from 2010 to 2018 and 2019, to provide sectoral data at national and state levels to determine the structure of the Nigerian economy and to determine the sectors that drive the Nigerian economy, amongst others. On the commodity market, oil hit an 11 months on Wednesday, boosted by a draw in U.S. crude and gasoline stocks, which fuel demand recovery hopes. Price movement for oil and other commodities is next. Now turning attention to the stock market. After 2 straight days of losses, Bosede Abel has a summary of how the Nigerian stock market closed this Wednesday. Hello, Bosede.
Hello, Musa. Good to be here live. And on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, it's another bleeding close for stocks on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, with the all share index depreciating by 0.10% to close 42,000.01 basis points, with market capitalization at 21 trillion naira. A total volume of shares worth 504 million worth 5 billion naira were traded in 5,887 deals. The top trades for at the end of the day are UBN, Guarantee Trust Bank, and FCMB. While investors are optimistic before the close of the week, there will be positive signs for the market.
Okay.
That's the much we have for you today.
Thank you, Bosede.
Thank you.
Now moving on. On the global scene, world shares rose on Wednesday as volatility caused by retail trading frenzy on Wall Street subsided. Benny Adams has global markets.
It's a busy day for earnings and early trading on Wednesday in Europe. European stocks advance as positive market sentiment continues amid a busy week of earnings reports. Stocks in Asia Pacific were mixed as a private survey showed China services sector activity growth slowing sharply in January. Shanghai Composite down 0.46% to 3,517.31 basis points. Hang Seng Index notched 0.2% higher to close at 29,307.46 basis points, and Nikkei closed 1% higher at 28,646.50 basis points. U.S. stock futures rose in early trading on Wednesday after a strong market rally as a ready trading mania continued to unwind. Dow futures rose 55 points. S&P 500 futures and Nasdaq 100 futures also traded in positive territory. Most African stocks saw robust gains in early trading, but for Namibia, overall index which depreciated by 0.09%.
What's the exchange rate of the naira to other major currencies midweek? Here's a look at the currency market. With that, we've come to the end of this edition of Business Express. Be informed that all previous episodes are available on YouTube on NT's channel. You can also communicate with us on Twitter, and the handle is NT News Now, and the hashtag is BizX. Join us again Thursday at 9:30 a.m. for another episode. I am Musa Abubakar saying stay safe.